Good morning. Good morning. Hope you all are having a great start to the day, great start to the week. It's Monday, August 25th. Is it the 25th? And I'm live shipping out orders this morning. I've got 30 orders to ship out between 4 different platforms. So I want to thank you for joining me, whether you're watching live on YouTube or Facebook, or whether you're watching the replay later on. Thanks so much for coming in and saying hello. I'll put a little comment in the chat here letting you know that questions and comments are welcome. Of course, make this what you want. It's always better engaging with you. So if you have any questions or comments based on things you're seeing, or just in general, reseller questions, or just something you're interested in, let me know. Love to answer that for you. Love to connect with you as well. As always, it's more fun when you're with me. It's more fun getting to interact with you than just shipping out orders, talking to myself. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got a lot going on this morning. It was a great weekend. Had a great weekend of sales. Again, 30 units going out this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and ship out now. I shipped out one this morning. I had to take my daughter to daycare and I had a FedEx order. It was a pair of shoes, brand new shoes that if you're familiar with eBay, you know, a lot of times on higher end shoes, they ship it to the authenticator to have it authenticated. And so that was a FedEx shipment that I went ahead and just took out this morning. That was my biggest sale of the weekend, by the way. It was a pair of brand new Hoka, women's Hoka hiking boots for $90. So yeah, the breakdown on the weekend, it was, like I said, it was a great weekend. Had one Depop sale, 2 social media sales, meaning a viewer on Facebook reached out on an item they saw in a video, and I'm going to ship out one of those this morning. I had 14 Poshmark orders, 14 units on Poshmark, and that includes a bundle of 3 items, and 14 eBay orders. So I've got a lot to do this morning, and happy that you're joining with me. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, I'm going to start with the platforms that are the least. And as I mentioned, I had one Depop order. If you see anything that you have a question about, let me know. So if you are curious about an item that you see that I sold and you want to drop a question in the chat, feel free to. But these shoes I sold, they were almost brand new Keen's work shoes, have the steel toe. Obviously, you can't tell that here, but steel toe work shoes, light new condition. I had these for $60-something. Buyer on Depop made an offer for $55 and paid. So I'll take that. I did have another buyer make an offer on an item that I accepted. They haven't paid yet, which is about the ratio that I see on Depop for offers accepted that actually go through to payment, about 50% or less. So with shoes, I basically any shoes that I sell, I just wrap in bubble wrap. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Of course, if you can't hear me or you can't see me that well, let me know. I want to make sure that all my equipment's working well. But as of right now, it seems like we're got good quality going. So these Keen shoes, I think I would have paid like 10 or 12 bucks for. Love finding these, and of course, if they're almost brand new condition, that helps. All right, so we'll go one more round. So I usually do one layer of bubble wrap around one way, and then I go back the other way just to make sure they're completely covered. Let me know how your weekend was. I'd love to hear. You had some sales you want to talk about. Maybe you had a killer sale that you want to just brag about. Please put it in the chat. What's up, Nick? How's it going? Great seeing you. How's it going over there in Phoenix, Nick? Phoenix, Tucson. Where are you at? I forget. I know it's Arizona. All right, so this has kind of become, I used to do boxes on shoes. This has kind of become my standard protocol. Unless I'm selling, obviously, if the shoes already have a box that they come with, I throw the box into a poly mailer or another box. It just depends. If they're high value shoes, I'm going to go a step further and put them in a box to make sure that they're protected. If it's just, $30, $40, $50 pair of shoes sold online, bubble wrap inside a poly mailer, never had any complaints this way. And if a pair of Keen work shoes with steel toe don't make it in the mail, then they weren't meant to be. Oh, nice. Hope you had a great vacation, St. Lucia. Never been there, but um, would love to go. That's fun. Casa Grande. Okay. These are going to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Women's Keen steel toe work boots. Sitting in the Charlotte airport. You all have rain over there? We've got rain here. Got rain all week, basically, coming. Great vacation, 100% paid for from used men's clothing. I love that. I love seeing people who have are paying for vacations with their eBay and reseller sales. That's awesome. And it's fun to know that your trip is fully funded. You're not going into debt on it. You're not putting it on the credit card. You're able to just go and have peace of mind. That's amazing. All right. That was my Depop order. Let's see here. I'm looking at my spreadsheet to see. 6412 actually was what I got for those. 6412, 55 was what I made after fees. Depop doesn't really have much in fees. They have like a processing fee. So my total fees were $3, but I do boost everything there. So these did sell boosted, and I had an extra $5 fee. So typically with Depop, I will come down quite a bit just because the fees are just so minimal. Boosting fee is 8% if it does sell boosted. Gives me $55, and then we'll just call it $15 on those shoes because I don't keep track anymore of what I paid individually on every single item. I just do the whole. So if I go to a store and I spend $100, I just put $100 in. I don't break it down like I used to anymore. But I kind of have an idea. Typically shirts, $5 to $6. Pair of shoes, usually about 10. Sometimes I'll pay up, but assuming I paid $15 for these, I would have made about $40.83 profit. And it took 58 days to sell, which is pretty good turn time. Less than 2 months on a really good pair of shoes. Someone got a deal on those, $64, and those were, like I said, like new, hardly anywhere in the tread. So we're gonna go over to actually let's do our social media because I do have one social media order. And what I mean by that, I posted a video of some hats I found, and a buyer reached out on this Phillies hat and said, I want to buy that. I made him a deal of $25 shipped. And I actually think this hat, if you look on the inside, it doesn't even look like it's been worn. This tag looks like it has no wear. The whole inside looks brand new. So I told the person reaching out, I'll sell it as used, but it looks like it's brand new. So I think when they get it, hopefully they'll be pleasantly surprised. It's better off, even better than what they thought. That's kind of what I'm going for. And I love getting those comments. I thought it was going to be excellent. It was even better. I had 2 buyers actually reach out on a video I posted of hats, and one I shipped out on Friday, and this is the second. So, gosh, love it when that happens because obviously with social media, you don't have any fees. So I'll sell things a little less than I typically would. This hat, there was no other hats out there, and it's a very different style. It's like a polyester, lightweight, like wicking hat. You don't see a lot of hats like that with that particular style. Just this, especially with baseball hats, this like trucker braided style. And when I looked on eBay, there were none exactly like this. So I knew with it being like new, if possibly new condition, I could get really good money on this. I know since I bought this recently, I paid $3.99 for this hat, and I sold it for $25 all in, shipped. So this is the way I do hats: inside the poly mailer for waterproofing, and then I do inside a small box here, and this typically comes out to 8 ounces or less, which is the cheapest way to ship a hat. If you can hit that 8 ounces or less, you get a cheaper rate than if it's 9 ounces. 9 ounces, and it jumps up like 80 cents a buck, something like that. And We are at 8 cents, or 8 cents, 8 ounces. All right, so where am I going? We're going to pirate ship here, and I'm gonna create a label in pirate ship since I don't really have an order to ship from. Yeah, it's a really cool hat, and I'm very particular with hats just because I've got a shelf back here. Some of these hats have been sitting here for a long time, and so I make sure that I'm getting like a unique hat um, if I'm going to pick one up at the thrift store. I'll be getting an offer on Poshmark on an item that I had 3 of when the weekend started. A buyer came in on Poshmark and bought one, and then immediately after that, another buyer came in and bought one. So something happens when you sell an item and you have multi-quantity, and now a third person is reaching out to buy the last one. I just countered. We'll see if they take it. Okay, I need to find this person's address real quick on the hat. Where did I put it? I may have to come back to this because I'm forgetting where. I thought it was on Facebook. I know it was on Facebook. Oh, there it is. Nathan picked it up. Nathan picked it up for $25 shipped. Going to North Highlands, Utah. Or Highland, Utah. Okay. I'm doing this through Pirate Ship. You can create a free account there. If you're not familiar with Pirate Ship, it's the way that you don't have to pay to ship. A lot of times you find these companies that like stamps.com where you have to pay to get an account. This one is actually free. So you go on, you create an account, you attach a credit card, and then you can ship many items through Pirate Ship using USPS or UPS. And so this is what I do for orders like this, and this is actually what I do for international orders when they sell on eBay or Depop too. Let's just double check and make sure I have the right address here before I click print. All right, we are good to go. So $4.74 shipping on this hat. And that's typically what I see. Again, you need that to be 8 ounces or less to get that cheap rate. If it's 9 ounces, that jumps up to like $5.60, $5.80, depending on where it's going. And then with social media orders, I always take a picture of the label and then send that to the buyer so they can track it if they would like to. All right, so they have that now. We'll slide this over here. So $25 on a hat. I paid $4.74 to ship it. I paid $3.99 for the hat. So we're at $8.73 all in. So you do the math, $16 and change on a hat. I picked up last week on I think Thursday or Friday and sold it a day or two later and made instantly 4 times my money. I love that. Love that when that happens. Okay, so we are good there. $16.27 profit. All right, let's jump over to Poshmark and go ahead and ship these out because these are pretty easy to do. Got this Grayson, really cool print, Grayson golf polo. It's got like rifles on the front. It's maybe hard to tell in the wrap, but I went through on, I need to get some more poly mailers out. Oh no, am I out? Surely not. Maybe out of poly mailers. That's a bummer. No, these are out. Where are they? Man, how did I not know I was that close to being out? All right, I guess everything's going in a big poly mailer today. We got one small one left. So on Thursday, Friday specifically of this last week, I was going through and just lowering a bunch of prices. I typically have priced high, and man, it seems like I go in phases, but I was just tired of seeing stuff sit. And I'm like, I need to start making money and clear room. I'm getting close to capacity on my bins in there. So I lowered some prices. This is one of those items that as I was lowering through Nifty in batches, buyer liked it at the lower price. Nifty sent out a 10% off offer. Buyer took it. So that's a quick win right there, and love that. So we're shipping out Poshmark orders. I think I've got like 8 to 10, somewhere in there. So $27 on that Grayson Polo, which is typically in that range, 25 to 35, depending on the print, depending on, size, things like that. I bought a bunch of Untuckits, and so these just sell, every few days. I get, especially on a weekend, I'll get a couple orders. This was a linen shirt, 100% linen for $29, brand new with tags. Bought quite a few of these. So you can't see, but I've got like 6 boxes under this desk full of stuff. I've got 4 in the closet, and I've got like 5 or 6 in the garage just full of these shirts. And I imagine now that we're kind of hitting the change in season that more of these will sell, because most of these are long sleeve. Going to Lubbock, Texas. All right. Had a buyer make an offer on these CRZ pants. CRZ is kind of like an Amazon private label brand for $17. I think they sell on Amazon for like 22, 23, something like that. I counted it like 20, and then it was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I was just in that mood of, let's just get it gone. I went back, matched the buyer's offer, and they accepted a day later. So $17, CRZ yoga, like performance pants for women. And they accepted. So that was a good little flip. I paid $2 for these. I would not have paid more than that for this brand. Going to Social Circle, Georgia. Never heard of that name before. Social Circle. Poshmark, probably one of my favorite platforms to sell on for many reasons. It's simple. No returns, which is amazing. Their fees are really straightforward. 20%, you know what you're getting. And it's 20% off the purchase price, not 20% off purchase plus shipping plus tax like eBay does. It's just they've got a really good platform. And I love knowing that when I sell an item on Poshmark, it is not coming back. Hagar cargo shorts picked up for $6, sold for $25 on Posh. This was a retail arbitrage pickup. I picked up like 5 of these when I got these. I remember where I was. I picked them up at TJ Maxx. Always check their clearance section for things like this. And this is going to a place called Dafuski Island, South Carolina. Got some different ones out there today. Dafuski Island. It's out there. I forgot to put in my fees on this one. So $5 fees on Posh, 25 bucks. 20% of that, $5, leaves me $14 profit on 6 spent. I think I have one of those pairs left. So I've sold most of them. They're mostly gone. All right. You heard me talk about Grayson earlier. Got another Grayson polo going out. This was a men's medium. I had a small hole, like a very tiny hole on the chest. So I got less for this than I typically would. 18 bucks on Poshmark. Again, it's going. It's not coming back because I disclosed the hole in the listing. I showed pictures of it. It's in the description. So if the buyer gets it and didn't see it when they ordered it and says, hey, I want to return this, I'll say, sorry, I sold it with a flaw. And Poshmark will side with me on that. Unless there was something else that I didn't disclose. But $18. I actually paid, I think, $8 to $10 for this at Plato's Closet, which is kind of high for a Grayson in size medium. But I didn't lose money. All right, we're rolling on Posh. Next up, I love finds like this. This was a good little find. I remember, I'm a very visual person. I remember a lot of times where I was when I picked up an item, specifically if it's like a unique piece. And if you get in the bread and butter stuff, it's easy to forget those. But I remember where I was when I found these. It's a new brand for me. And the brand is called Kevin's Plantation. It's like a shooting shirt. The buyer came through. I bought 3 of these for $8.99 a piece, kind of high. And then picked up 3 at Goodwill. Buyer came in on Poshmark, bundled all 3 together. I sent a 12% offer, 12% off on the bundle, and they took it. So I sold these for $25 a piece. And these are a shooting shirt. It's got maybe hard to see, but it's got a padded. Let me show a picture of this because this in the wrap really doesn't do justice. We need to see it. So I'm going to share my screen here so you can actually see. There we go. Let's do that. Take a look at that. Really cool pattern here. All 3 of them had like a plaid pattern with this padded shoulder. So when you see that padded shoulder, that means it's a shooting shirt. So I will put shooting shirt in the title. I'll put padded. And then obviously the colors, it was large, which is not bad. There is the tag, Kevin's Plantation, $25 a piece. These range from like mid-20s to 30, 35, somewhere in there. So if I just sold the one, I may have gotten more, but since I sold it as a bundle, they got a deal, 25 bucks a piece, and all 3 are gone. I bought 3 and I sold 3, and I didn't even bundle these. I considered bundling these in one listing. I decided not to, and they sold like that anyways. So again, $9 is kind of high for a shirt, but I would not have paid that for a bread and butter item. But for the right piece, I will pay up. And shooting shirts, I don't find them that often, but I typically will pick them up if they're not flawed, like super flawed. Just like an outdoor hunter shirt. All right, so all 3 shirts going out. $60 my earnings on this, and again paid 27 total. So that leaves me with 30. What is that? 33 bucks profit on those 3 shirts. So 11 bucks a piece. And you'll probably notice if you haven't already, I'm selling a lot of sleeves, a lot of warmer. Got some winter pieces coming out, like some heavy sweaters, jackets. I'm selling a lot of fall stuff, and yes, I do have some polos going out, some performance polos and things like that. But I'm seeing the trends change now as we head into the end of summer and the beginning of fall. All right, I've got a couple I'm going to skip just because they're more difficult to ship. Let's move on to this. Got one other Untuck It. For me talking about Untuck It a second ago. Where did it go? Drop. Another Untuck It out the door. This one for 31, which is a pretty good deal. I don't know how much these Untuck It's retail for, but I would guess whoever's buying these at 29, 31, you know, that price point is getting at least half, but I would guess 25 to 30% on 60 to 75% off on these shirts. All right, moving along. Okay, $2. I picked up 3 of these, $2 a piece. These are like ballet shoes. They sold for 15, which isn't much, but again, I paid $2 for them. And I'm just looking for a small box. I always keep boxes when I order stuff from Amazon. It's kind of overkill. I don't really want to waste a good box on something like this, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to polymail these. I'll wrap and then just for ballet shoes. I don't think anyone cares if the box is, the box is already slightly damaged, so. I'll bubble wrap them, even though that's not really going to do much for a flimsy box. Had 3 of these. This is the last one to sell. All 3 are selling in that $15 to $20 range. Funny story, I actually I sold one of these last week or 2 weeks ago. And I didn't know this, but I've posted about it on Facebook, and a lot of people have said, yeah, girls like dance shoes are just vary on whether they're true to size or not. And the person, even though I listed them correctly, I had the right size, they reached out and were like, hey, these are not true to size. I want my money back. And I'm like, I listed them the size they are. There's no inaccuracies in my listing. They opened a case on Poshmark, and Poshmark denied, saying, sorry, the seller listed them correctly. So I love how Poshmark stands by their sellers. All right, Cricut. I don't find this very often, but there's it's like a golf polo. I sold this and got returned, and then it sold on Posh. So guess what? It's not getting returned. Man, I still can't believe I ran out of. That's never happened. My systems have failed me. I ran out of small poly mailers. So I'm gonna have to order after this. Actually, should write that down so I don't forget. Cool, Nick. I see you're still in here. I wasn't sure who's watching, but glad you're still tuning in. Yeah, so $20 on the Cricket. Nick, do you ever find that brand? I remember back in the day, I would list those for $35 and they would sell fast. That's not the case anymore. More people in on Cricket, but I just don't find it that often. And sold this morning. Poshmark. Sticking with Poshmark, some Prana. I think it's Brian. It's Brion. It seems like it would be Brian, but spelled differently. $35 on these pants. So the buyer paid everything I was asking for. I always price with hope that I'll get a full price sale like this, but I would have taken, I don't know, if they'd sent me an offer for 25, I'd probably strongly consider it. I don't think I got a counter on that Poshmark listing. Let's see what they do. All right, so my last Poshmark orders I was referring to were the multi-quantity. I sold one and then immediately sold a second one. And I'm waiting on this person to see if they come back and buy this last one that I have. I'd love for it to go. I've had these for a long time. And it's this big boy right here. It's a, the brand is Sloan. It doesn't really matter. It's just a different brand, but Brazilian butt lift pillow. So back support for like post surgery. I picked up like 8 or 10 of these for $10 a piece. And when I picked them up, they were selling for like a minimum of 30, 35 up to like 50. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be a good deal. It was. I haven't lost money, but they just sat like I sold a couple right away, and then the rest of them just sat for a long time. So I may go in, and if the buyer doesn't accept my $25 offer on this, I may just go in and accept just to move it at 20 and get it out. But the challenge with these is they're just, I mean, they do fit in a poly mailer, but I have to like really struggle with this to get it in without ripping the poly mailer. I don't really want to box these because they're just foam. You don't need a box. So I'll be glad to be done with these. Maybe that's the reason why I should just accept that $20 offer. Be glad to be done with these. And they take up a bunch of space. I don't know if that sounds loud on the mic. Does that sound loud at all on the mic? All right. So with these, since they're longer than the poly mailer, I just double it up. Nick, you selling any Western shirts in Arizona? You finding them down there? I'm so out of tune with social media right now. I may wait and do this last one after the camera just because it takes a long time and this is just not fun to watch. You know what? I think I'm just going to go in and I'm going to match their offer of 20 just to move it and be done with it. We'll see if they come back. A lot of times I'll do that, send a counter, and then wait 10, 15 minutes. And if they don't immediately take it, I drop down. I guess it's the game of negotiation. There we are. Yeah. I'll ship that one later. All right. First one going. Yeah, happy to move these out. They've just been sitting in this closet, taking up a bunch of space. They are gone. Hopefully, like I said, that third one goes. I have to remember not to hit my mic because it's really loud for you all. So if I just did it, sorry. Okay, so the only other Poshmark sale I have is the other one that I just sold. And like I said, it's boring to watch me ship that. So I'm going to ship that after. Let's go ahead and jump over to eBay. And sorry, I thought I forgot to ship one. Oh, that's right. So because I sold this within 3 hours, Poshmark's not going to let me mark it as shipped. They didn't send an offer. They just paid full price. So I'm going to pull back those Prana pants just to make sure before I set them out. Probably be good to go in an hour. Okay. Now we're switching to eBay, 14 orders. This one going to North Hollywood, California. Again, was dropping a bunch of prices. And so when I did that on Friday, I got a handful of sales that came in. These Hugo Boss pants, just khaki pants, straight fit, sold for $24.30 on eBay. This was an item that I typically don't price it like that. All my listings are going to end in 97 or 99. So the fact that it sold for $24.30 meant an offer went out and the buyer accepted. So that would have been nifty that sent the offer out. And that happens quite a bit. Nifty sends a 10% off offer. The buyer probably was going to pay full price. They get that notification that, hey, you've got a 10% off. And then they're like, sweet, I just saved some money. So I'm happy with that. I'd rather just go ahead and make the sale, even if I'm losing 10% and making the sale. That's fine with me. Going to North Hollywood, California. I'm going to show this next item because I did a video on it. Kind of, if I just show it in a poly mailer, it doesn't do justice. But it's an Adidas polo, used polo that I got $31 for. And I want to show the pattern on this because it's pretty cool. So we take a look at this Adidas polo. You can kind of see this interesting. It's like a camo pattern, but obviously all in the same color. And that it's highly vented. Maybe if you get a better look there. Those are like, that's a lot of ventilation that you can see, like places for the buyer to cool down, for this shirt to do its job. Breathable. And there's a pic of the front there. So this is a 5XL, Adidas 5XL. The tag looked like it hadn't been worn. So I listed it as like new, no signs of wear. Unless I think it's new. If I'm unsure, I just do excellent, like new. If I think this has not been worn, I'll do new without tags. But in this case, I just was safe, like new. This same shirt on Amazon was over $100, which is kind of surprising for an Adidas polo. But when I looked it up, I got the official like title off of Amazon, Prime Green Arrow Ready polo shirt. And when I saw that it was going for $100, my price went up, because when I bought this in the store, I was thinking 20 to 25. And then I listed it around 39, took an offer of 31. So that was a good sale. And I was happy to move that, especially with, again, summer coming to an end. So and the funny thing is, I actually found that exact same shirt, same color, everything, in a size medium. And I priced it, I think, at like 24, 23, just because of the size difference. 5XL, I don't think there was any out there. Mediums, I'm sure there are plenty of those. I paid $5.99 for it, profit of just over $20 on that polo. And I almost never pick up Adidas polos. I don't know about, hello, I need to get this sent. I don't know about you, but man, it's not something I go around picking up. It was the pattern, it was the heavy breathability, it was the size, it was the condition, it was everything working all at once. All right, my smallest sale of the weekend, sticking with golf polos. I don't think I'll pick these up anymore unless they're new with tags. This was TravisMathew, just like a two-tone white gray with stripe performance polo. I got $13 for it. I had it marked down to like 15, took an offer. These, again, we're coming to the end of golf season, so doesn't mean there won't be short sleeve buyers out there, but I was ready to move it. And I've got probably a handful of these TravisMathew polos that I just need to get going. I don't think I'll pick them up anymore, to be honest, unless I can get them for $1 or $2 and know that I can still make $12 profit selling in that $13 to $15 range. But I'm not paying $6 for those anymore. That's for sure. Going to San Clemente, California. All right, I believe this next one is international. Let me double check. Yeah, going to Chile. So you heard me talking about pirate ship earlier. Whether you're watching now live or you're watching later on the replay, you may not know that my international orders go through Pirate Ship. So I was talking about how you can get a free account through Pirate Ship and ship that way. This is exactly how I ship all of my international orders. So I set up on eBay. I do eBay's international shipping. I also add in my own international shipping. And I'll be honest, I hardly ever get an international order through eBay because their rates are just so high. They charge for like the person who's going to open the package and then send it out. I mean, they just charge a higher rate. So most buyers that I see international are going through my independent Pirate Ship service. And this was an item I listed like a week ago, and it sold for really good money. I'll go ahead and show it because you need to see it. The Polo Ralph Lauren cable knit sweater. Just take a look at that there. Heavy cable knit. It was even size medium, so not a great size. No flaws. I picked this up, and it's going to Chile for $38 plus shipping. So I think I charged $23 shipping. I typically charge a couple of dollars more than the label, just for like supplies and things like that. Actually, I charge $1 more. It's not a couple bucks. And many times with international, because it's going to travel distance and there's going to be a lot longer time that it's in transit, depending on the item, I sometimes will take better preparation, like putting it in a box rather than a poly mailer. This with a sweater, I'm just going to put in a poly mailer. If it were shoes, I'd probably put them in a box. So cool thing with Pirate Ship, you can go in, you can log in, and you can automatically link up your eBay account and pull in your order. So you don't have to type in all of the buyer's information. It's going to automatically pull it in for you. All you need to do is enter the small amount of details like dimensions and the weight. And I know this is going to be 2 pounds. I don't think it's going to hit over 3. Yeah. And then you fill out a little bit of details, but you would think with international orders, it's going to be a nightmare. It's really not. It's really easy. They want to know, what are you shipping? I just say sweater, quantity 1. The value is $38, what it sold for. Put in the weight. And then I always check, because sometimes this is really important, shipping internationally. You want to make sure that if the buyer paid a value added tax, that you give them credit for that, because if they go to pick it up and they've already paid the tax, but you didn't put it in the order in the shipping, on the shipping label, then they'll end up having to pay again. And they will not be happy about that. I don't see that they've paid for anything. So we're good to go there. Just waiting on this to print the label. And it's kind of weird, but if you're doing this for the first time, it won't print out the buyer's information. It will print out Pirate Ship Export Sorting Center, and there will be one center in the U.S. it's going to. Once it gets there, a representative will then reassign it to an international shipping service. So sometimes I've had buyers reach out and say, hey, this just delivered. I don't have it. And what will happen is it will notify them that it delivered at the U.S. center. But then from there, they put it in a new package, they put a new label on it, and they send it on to the buyer. So I always tell them, don't worry, this always happens. It just delivered to the rerouting center in the US. And that typically, obviously, that usually takes care of it. As far as like relieving the buyer that it's on its way. All right, I love this find. This is one of my favorites of the weekend. It's a vintage, cool. This is actually an alpaca sweater. So it's got an alpaca fleece sweater is the official name of it. It's got this like fuzzy inside liner you can see there. It's just a beautiful piece that I had for $45. The buyer made a $41 offer. I took it. It's always funny to me when someone makes an offer that's like a couple bucks lower than full price. I'm like, all right. I mean, obviously I'm going to accept that, but I don't know. Sometimes people they want to hit like this probably put them under $50, and maybe they just didn't want to hit that $50. Maybe they have a budget. So, but they also didn't want to send a low offer and like insult me with a low offer. So I get it. Going to Corsicana, Texas. keep doing that. I keep forgetting to package it up. If you're new to me, Cool is the brand that got me started reselling. I say that quite a bit, but I just love Cool. It's one of those brands that I still love finding Cool. It's the first, when I started reselling clothing on eBay, it's the first brand that I started selling, and I sold a couple pairs of pants. And it just kind of got me hooked. I was like, whoa, those sold really fast for good money. So ever since, I just love finding and selling Cool. All right. Check this out. Georgia Bulldogs Nike full zip windbreaker jacket just in time for college season. Season starts this weekend. Someone is snatching up a really crisp jacket. $35.97 on this. And I listed this in May. You're not going to get a lot of jacket sales in May, especially with summer, heading into summer. But someone got a sniff of fall and then went online and picked it up. I'm going to see how long I've been on. 51 minutes. Someone got the whiff of fall and we're like, it's time to buy a jacket. And hey, I'm glad they did. I love finding sports stuff. Jackets like this, sweaters, just especially if it's a really good team like Georgia, where year to year they're just always ranked, specifically in football. All right, bread and butter item coming up. Polo Ralph Lauren Performance Polo, white with some navy blue stripes. Got $17 on this. I wanted more. I think this buyer had sent offers like in this past week, and then I countered at 20, and they just went away. And then this weekend they came back and made the same offer. I was like, you know what? I'm wanting to move stuff. $17 isn't bad. Let's do it. What's up, Jordan? I am doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. Got some Marmot jeans. I'm going to show you this because these sold full price. I lowered the price on Friday, and someone came in and snatched them up on the weekend. Let's see, where are they? Right there. These Marmot Morrison jeans. I had a buyer like a while ago, just kept sending me really bad offers, like 10, 12, 13. And would go away for a while and then they'd come back. Same thing, 10, 12, 13. Just like, dude, go away. I'm not going to accept your $13 offer on these. They sold for right in the sold comp range, 25 to 35. And just a really good, like durable outdoor jean. And then again, one of those things where a whiff of fall and someone comes in and snatches them up. So $32.99 plus shipping. Very happy with that sale. It's those are the sales I really get excited about, the finds and the sales, like those outdoor items. That, if you don't know me, that's how I started. I started with outdoor gear, like cool. And I love finding outdoor gear. I was in Colorado and I could just find it all the time. And so, though I do sell like new dress shirts and button ups and things like that, it's really the outdoor gear that excites me when I find that stuff in the wild. All right, pair of Polo Ralph Lauren khakis. You can't really see it, but got the pony on the back pocket there. These were size 48. So I don't know that there were many out there that had a size 48. Going to Richmond, Virginia. Funny story. I had them for $29.99. A buyer came in and made an offer for $20. I countered at $25. Someone else came in immediately and paid full price. So if you're new to eBay, new to reselling, specifically on eBay, anytime someone sends an offer, always counter, for that reason alone. It's happened so many times where, whether it's, even if it's a good offer and it's maybe just not high enough where you want to be, still counter. You never know. You may get someone that comes in and pays full price. I'm not really sure what happens. I don't know if eBay notifies other watchers on the item and says, hey, this is being bid on right now. I don't know if I do know that when an item is getting action, like offers and things like that, eBay does push it up in search results. So maybe someone was searching for it coincidentally at the same time. It popped up at the very top and they just went in and paid. Return low ballers. That's interesting. Yeah, and that person is just trying to get as cheap as they can. 75% off, obviously a really horrible offer. And then they missed out. And that's one of those times where you're like, yeah, you tried to play hardball with me and you lost. Tried to play hardball and you lost out. Someone else came and snatched it up. I never want to like send a snarky message back. Like, I mean, obviously I would love to. I typically would just say like, sorry, someone came in and just bought these. But inside I'm like, heck yeah, man. Played around and you got burned. All right, this was an interesting sale for me this weekend because I just picked it up and I just listed it. I listed on 8/20. So what was that? Was that like Thursday? This puzzle right here. And it's, you probably can see it's paid $2 for this at Salvation Army. And there were sales on these for 15 up to like 50 on this specific brand, like 2,000 pieces. Now the $50 like well-known landmarks like the New York skyline before 9/11. There were some other historical ones like some World War like type prints. So I wasn't sure, like 15 to 50, where do I price this? This isn't, I don't think, a $50 puzzle. I priced it at $25. You may have heard me talking about Nifty sending out 10% offers. Someone liked it. Nifty sent a 10% offer, and then someone snatched it at $22.50. So, like I said, I just picked it up, just listed it, and now it's gone. So I actually do want to get a box for this one because obviously brand new like this. I'm not going to send it in a poly mailer. Don't want this. Don't want anything happening to this. I think this is going to fit perfectly in here. I think it's going to be perfect. We'll see. It may not be. I may have to finagle it. We're going to make it work. It is snug. I don't think I have another box for that one. It is snug. I don't like that. All right, we're going to go with it. I don't think anything's going to happen to it. These are the types of pieces where when I'm listing them, I'm like, I don't really know what to charge shipping on this, but I'm also trying to be competitive with other shippers. So this is 3 pounds. I charged $8.95. I may end up losing money on this. We'll see. And ground advantage is 10.08. So I lose a little over $1, which isn't bad. I'm okay with that. I can get it for UPS a little cheaper, like 10 cents more. I don't want to have to drive to UPS. So I'm going to purchase 10.08, just take the $1.25 hit. I'm okay with that because typically I'm making money on the shipping as opposed to losing. I'll show you the print on this was really cool. I mean, it's a beautiful print. Like a floral, beachy, coastal vibe, brand new in the box. Sold within, I think, 3 days. All right. Let's go ahead and I'm going to skip this next one just because it's a blazer. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the easier ones to ship out. Last night, while I slept, a pair of gray Nike performance pants. I'm very slow to pick these up. I would not have paid much for these because sometimes I have a hard time getting these to move. So this would have been like, I found it at Goodwill for half price. It was like $2 to $3. And they sold for $21.58. Again, just a pair of gray performance pants. And I don't even think they were like a newer style. I listed these on December of 2024. So what is that, like 8-9 months? Going to West Hills, California. A lot of California orders today, which is pretty standard for me. I get a bunch of California. And I'm all the way, I'm not on the other side of the country, but I'm not as close as I used to be in Denver. Waking up to sales overnight is one of my favorite things. Yeah, me too. It doesn't happen all the time. And even recently, there have been times where I think one night I woke up to like 3 sales and then 2 offers that I accepted. And it was like 5 sales to start the day. I'm like, man, let's go. That never happens. But yeah, always great to wake up to some sales, start the day off with money in the bank. All right, next up was a pair of Bonobos. I'm not sure how you pronounce them. Jeans. Story about Bonobos. I don't pick up their shirts anymore. I've got a couple in there that have just been sitting. And I almost don't pick up their khaki chino pants. I just have not had luck with those. Unless I found like a larger size, I typically pass. With their jeans and their performance pants, I do pick those up. And these I listed on August 14th. A pair of like dark wash blue jeans. They sold obviously within a week to 10 days for $24 plus shipping. So Bonobos jeans, Bonobos performance pants. Yep. Anything else? Nope. I'm always tempted too. I'm always tempted when I see them at the store and if they're like half price, I'm like, don't do it. Going to Kansas City, Missouri. Don't do it. Listen to your gut on these. Listen to your history with this brand. All right. The last one I ship out on eBay is this blazer that I got $62.10 for. Navy blue blazer by Peter Millar. Great brand to find. I don't find their blazers very often. I almost always pick up their blazers. There's the tag. It's even an older style tag. So it's an older jacket. Had this been newer, it would have gone for more. Had this been like linen or silk, it would have gone for more. Just felt something right there. So I want to make sure there's not something sticking out. 62.10. I listed this in April of this year. 4 months to sell. Yeah, this is something where I don't even look up comps on a Peter Millar blazer. I'm just picking it up. It's going in the cart. There are a few brands that are like that. You don't need to look up comps. You just know this is money. So with blazers, I store them in the closet hanging up. I don't want them getting wrinkled. There was a time when I would store some like folded in a bag in the garage, like in a bin. I don't like doing that anymore. So I put everything hanging up in this closet. So I have to make sure that I have space for it. So I'm slow to pick up blazers. They've got to be really good. I'm really particular. So they hang while they wait to sell. Once they sell, obviously I'm going to fold them up and then I'm going to put them in this clear poly mailer here to protect it. And then I'll put this inside another poly mailer. Again, $60 jacket. It's going to go in a poly mailer. If this were a $200 or $300 blazer, you better believe I would put that in a box just to be sure. But I've never had any issues shipping out this way. So in the clear bag, in the poly mailer. Most blazers that I'm picking up are going to be 2 pounds or less. The only time I crack that is if I'm getting like a heavy wool blazer. I don't even know why I weighed it. I knew it was going to be 2 pounds. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jordan. I used to pick up a lot more because you can get them for like $6 to $10 and they'll sell for minimum of 30, but a lot of times 40 and up, specifically the better ones. But I've just got a few in there that have been sitting for years. And I'm like, okay, the plain Jane, like navy blue blazers like this one, I typically won't pick up unless it's a good brand or unless it's a very good material like linen, like silk, linen mix, something like that. But if you've just got a solid navy wool blazer, there's just so many out there. And if it's like Joseph A. Bank or, some of these brands that are great brands, but just a lot of them out there, it's just hard to move. So I'm typically looking for great patterns or the material or a great brand or all three. So I don't remember exactly how much I paid, but let's just say I paid $10 for this. I know it wouldn't have been more than that. I ended up making $39.86, 131 days after listing it. Going to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And you would think with blazers, you may have people on eBay who are buying it to wear to an event and then return it to you, since I do accept returns. I typically don't get a lot of I shouldn't say this right now as I'm shipping this out, but I typically don't get a lot of returns on blazers. I just don't. But let's knock on wood on that one. Jinx myself right from the beginning. All right, I'm gonna hang around. That's all that I'm shipping. I still have this one that I'm gonna ship out, so I'm gonna get this going. You're welcome to hang around, talk, chat with me. If you want to hang around, I'm gonna work on getting this one shipped. Got a pretty packed day ahead of me. I'd like to get 20 items listed, at least 15. I've got to cross-list my items that I sent out 10. I pushed through 10 drafts on eBay today. So 10 drafts went active this morning. Now I need to cross-list those over to Poshmark, Depop, and Mercari. I'm going to do that using Nifty. You may have heard me talking about Nifty earlier. Nifty is just, if you haven't heard of it, it's this amazing resource in the reseller world where you can, literally in seconds, I'm pushing these items over. Seconds and a couple of clicks. So I import all of my eBay listings into Nifty. I go in and I just click Poshmark. I click list and it lists over. It fills in like pretty much all the data, the item specifics, the title, the pictures, everything. I don't have to do much. And I do that for Mercari and Depop, and then within less than 30 seconds, I've got that item listed on 4 different platforms. And Nifty does more. They send out offers. They send out offers to likers. They automatically delist that item once it sells. They delist it from all the other sites. Like within 5 minutes, it's taken down so it doesn't get a duplicate sale. You can share your closet on Poshmark through Nifty. It's just an automation tool that I think most resellers need unless you just have a handful of listings. Jordan, it's interesting you said that. You say I do buyer paid shipping returns and it slowed down my returns a bit. This last week, I actually just switched from free returns to buyer paid. I've done free returns for probably 10 years. And I just thought, you know what? I've been thinking about buyer paid returns. I don't think it's going to deter many people as long as I'm accepting returns. So for the same thing that you just said, I switched over, and yeah, I think I had like 8 returns pending, just waiting on the items to come back. And I'm like, man, 8 returns is a lot. I do have like 2,000 items, but 8 returns is probably the most I've ever had at one time, just open. And I was finally like, you know what? I'm gonna put a little extra barrier between the buyer and the return process. So we'll see how it goes. I'm only about a week to 10 days in. Be interested to see if it cuts down my returns. I'm sitting at around, I looked right now, it's like 4.5% return rate, which is a little higher. I'm typically like 3.5 to 4. We'll see if that drops back down. But yeah, I'm thinking like, if you're a clothing seller on eBay and you don't accept returns, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You kind of have to. I say all that, like Poshmark. Obviously, Poshmark, it's not standard that you have a return on Poshmark. So maybe it's not as much a thing as it used to be, but eBay just, I say you almost have to accept returns because all the buyer has to do is just say item not as described. The color is slightly different. The sizing is slightly different, and then eBay will force you to accept the return. And trust me, if you have a buyer who is bent on not keeping that item and getting their money back, they may try to do what they can to figure out how to force you to take it back. So you might as well just do returns. All right. Still get some returns where the buyer ends up paying more in shipping than the item actually cost. But oftentimes they don't return based on the cost difference. Yeah. Because if you're thinking about it, if a person is not, they don't sell online, they're not used to shipping, They got to go up to the post office. They've got to wait in line or at the kiosk, and they've got to pay for a label themselves. And many times it's way more expensive than what we're shipping it out for. So if I'm shipping something for $6.50, they're going to go to the counter and pay $8.50 to $9 to ship that back because they're not getting the commercial rate. So yes, it's definitely a deterrent. Competing with Amazon, yes, that's true. It's very true. All right. All right, let's see if I can clear out this other Prana sale. No, not yet. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that out. All right, so that's all I have. I do have a few returns. So I'll just go ahead and process the returns here with you all. So actively, I've got 3 open returns. So once I close out these 2, I'll be down to 1, which will be a good feeling. And one of the returns I got, looking for my scissors. One of the returns that I'm waiting on, the most recent one, was before I did buyer pays returns. So they're still on free shipping. So I still have a couple weeks where I may still get some of those, but for the most part, main reason why I did free returns before is because I wanted to be a top rated seller, a top rated plus seller. Top rated plus sellers get a 10% reduction in their selling fees. So if my selling fees are $3.50 on an item on eBay, I get a 35-cent reduction back. So for me, that's why I did it for so long. I wanted that top rated seller badge. I wanted people to see that. And I don't know if it's as important nowadays as it was before. Because there's so many people that aren't paying attention to the listings, and more people are shopping on their phones. Like I think I heard 60 to 70% of buyers are going through their phones. And a lot of people aren't scrolling all the way down to see, is this person a top rated seller? Some people do. I do. I don't necessarily need to see their top rated. I just want to see if they accept returns. But a lot of people don't scroll through. They don't click through on the description. They don't read a lot of stuff. They're just looking at the first 3 or 4 pictures. They're seeing the price and the title, and then they're buying or not buying. And so I think it's, obviously it does help a little bit, but in the end, I said I'd rather get less returns and just pay full price on the fees. So it's an experiment. I can always go back if I want to. First return on a Polo Ralph Lauren. This was a $48 shirt that I sold brand new with tags. It's a good deal on that too. That's a little lower than I wanted to, but it was just to move it. And so with returns, I paid to get the item back. And then I will not refund the original shipping because I've already paid for the original shipping and a label. eBay is going to give me some money back on my fee credits. They're actually giving me $7 back. So I'm going to actually end up refunding out of my account $40.94. So I'm going to enter that into the spreadsheet. A refund $40.94. Yeah, exactly. I did the math on how many shipping labels did I pay out over this last month. I added it all up, and I think I ended up saving like $70 in fees. But then I went back and added up how much I spent on shipping labels, and I think it was like 40 or 50. So it was close to break even. And I just decided, let's see if I get less returns now. So we'll see. Like I said, I can always go back, but I think I've kind of beat that one into the ground. All right. Need to add this back in the spreadsheet. Today's the 25th. If you all are looking for a reseller spreadsheet, I have one that I do sell. Got 3 different versions based on where you are in your journey. I've got like a basic, I've got a premium, and then I've got a creator. Creator, obviously the basic is more for like newer resellers. The creator is more for those people that resell, but also maybe do content creation. They get money through links and clicks and things like that, and they want to track money that comes in for content. Maybe they have some whatnot sales. They sell merch, things like that. So it's more for like the creator who also resells. But if you're interested, let me know. I can send a link to you on how you can find those. The premium is typically going to be your best bet, that middle ground. It's going to give you a lot of tools for your business to track your business expenses, obviously inventory, sales, profit. It's going to show you your day sales, your month sales, your year sales. You've got a consignment tracker. You've got platform tracker, store brand category. I mean, it gives you a bunch of data about your reselling business. So if you are interested, I'll drop it in the chat. Just let me know. Obviously, no worries on that. If not, okay. So I've got one more to run a refund on. One second on this. Just making sure this relisted the shirt that I just processed the return on. And it looks like it did. Okay, we're good to go. Of course, I didn't really examine that. I looked in the sleeve. I usually take it out of the sleeve and make sure that there's no flaws on it. They didn't wear it. I can see the tags are still attached, so I'm just going to take a chance that, the buyer had packaged it up really nicely. This was a pair of pants that were new in the wrap and with this like little paper around it. So obviously they had to take them out and see that they didn't fit. I don't expect it to be in the same condition. I'm assuming they haven't worn them, but they didn't fit was the reason why they returned it. So I'm going to just fold these back up and see if I can get them back in the cardboard that they were in. Well, that didn't go really well. I'll have to get these packed down even further to make this work. All right, this will be it for me on this. Let's see if we can get this close enough. We're going to put some tape on it and call it good. All right, there we go. So we'll go ahead and process this one as well. Ate lunch. What time is it? Or where are you? I guess is better. You must be on the East Coast. I guess it is. It's 11:15 my time, Central Time. Jordan, thanks for hanging with me. I appreciate that. Glad I could. Glad we could hang out. Thanks for adding to the conversation. West Michigan, nice. All right, that one's good. Yeah, Jordan, have a good one. Again, thanks for coming to hang out. All right, before I hang up, I'm going to do one last thing, make sure on these pants that they're in there. Okay, and we're good to go. All right, well, that's going to be it for me today on shipping. Thanks so much for coming to hang out. I know I had several people in here at one time, just saying hello and commenting and things like that. So I appreciate that. It's always fun to connect with you all. So I'll be here next Monday. I don't have a specific time, but I'll be shipping out orders Monday morning, typically around this time. So come and hang out, come and say hi, see what I sold. Let's connect. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you have a great week. I hope your sales are rolling in. We'll catch you on another video.